Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. Thank you so much for tuning in today, watching today's program. We have an amazing show for you today. Today, I'm here with the one, the only, the honorable Ted Yoder. And I want to tell you, I don't take this opportunity lightly. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share a few minutes with you to interview you today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Today, our guest is Ted Yoder. Ted is a musician and became a household name in 2016 when his Facebook Live version of the Tears for Fears, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, rocketed to 53 million views in 4 days till this day. And not only is that video still circulating social media, but his amazing talent and music continues to be an influence, not just in the United States, but all over the world. And Ted, I would like to start with this question. You play the hammer dulcimer. When did you develop an interest in that instrument?
That's a really good question. That goes all the way back to the 80s. And if anybody remembers Rich Mullins, he was, of course, if you don't know who Rich Mullins is, his most popular song was called Awesome God. And now it's sung in churches around the world. But he was a musician, Christian musician, and I was a huge fan of his and just heard him play it. And at first, when I first heard it, I thought it was just a synthesizer because it was in the 80s. What wasn't a synthesizer in the 80s? Mm-hmm. And but then once I saw him in concert one time and just the first time with the hammer dulcimer and just saw him play it. And I was just enraptured. And but that was back in the 80s and took me a good 10 to 12 years to even find my first hammer dulcimer. Because you just couldn't walk into your local guitar center and pick one out.
I bet they were kind of hard to find. What kind of music do you like to play on there?
Well, I mean, the first person I heard was Rich, like I said, and so and he was obviously kind of a folk rock musician, but even on piano, I grew up playing Michael W. Smith and Elton John and Billy Joel, and so I was kind of a rock and roll piano player. And so that's just kind of what I thought you could do or you should do on the hammer dulcimer. I didn't know that there was a specific, mountain music kind of thing that you were supposed to do on the hammer dulcimer. So I don't know, the hammer dulcimer just, to me, lends itself to such a unique sound of music that you don't hear all the time because people are so used to hearing guitar and piano. Mm-hmm. And those very common instruments. And when they hear the hammer dulcimer, it just automatically makes them turn their head, whether they like it or they don't. They still turn and go, "Oh my gosh, what's that?" But anyway, so my main, I like to take. I write my own compositions that can be anywhere from a very oh, I hate to say melancholy, but a very soulful place, to anything that's just a little more pop or rock oriented. I like grabbing stuff from the '80s. I play Beatles. The only thing I haven't played on here is probably blues.
Well, I tell you, you do such a wonderful job playing that, and you definitely inspired me and continue to inspire me with your music. And
Thank you.
what was the breaking point? And what I mean by that is, what was the breaking point to your success? In other words, when did you start to become more noticed to the public as it relates to your music?
Oh, it would have to be 2016 viral video. As far as just an explosion of global proportions, I mean, and I'm not trying to make that sound like something, just hubris or more than what it is. But I mean, to have that much, well, to put it in perspective, the video that I did before that on Facebook had a total of 47 views after 4 days. And we had like 7 people watching. And so the very next week I do Tears for Fears, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And in 4 days I have, 53, 54 million views. And so, I mean, there's not a cup big enough in the world that can hold all that. So it was just very unique. And we found so many amazing stories and people through that are still fans today. And a lot of them have actually become friends. And actually 2 of the people that saw the video are now my bandmates. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So when you woke up and you saw, all those videos, like, were you in disbelief? Were you shocked? I mean, I know you probably
Yes.
wasn't expecting that, but I probably would be if I'd done a video and it ended up with that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it was so surreal. And like I said, you just emotionally, mentally, just had a hard time even taking it all in. So
Yeah.
my wife and I, we had a lot of sleepless nights, just laughing, crying, just sitting there commenting back to people on Facebook, on Twitter, YouTube, just different places like that. Just reading stories to each other, hearing calls, getting calls from friends, and and then ultimately we get in touch with 2 of the guys from Tears for Fears, and they came out to the house and met us and played a song with us in the backyard where it all happened. So it was just, yeah, it was a wild, crazy time that I'm so glad my family got to be part of that, because it's not something that you can ever duplicate in any way, shape, or form.
That's amazing. Many people can hear your music, because I can hear it, but not only can I hear your music, when I hear your music, I can also feel your music.
Mm.
What is the distinction? Like, how is it important for people to feel your music
Mm.
rather than just hear it?
Mm. Oh, well, without getting too philosophical or anything like that, I do believe it's the Holy Spirit inside of me that
Yeah.
has a big part of it. Um, I remember when I first started out and I was playing just at street festivals or something like that, and people would come up and they would one, either fall asleep in the grass, and then they would come to me and say, I have not slept that soundly for, I don't know how long. And other people would come up and they would just be sitting or standing right beside me, listening to me play, and they would just start crying. So there was always this big thing of, I felt like the Lord told me, you do what you do, get better at the gifts I gave you, and then you let me do my work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a lyricist. I play instrumental music. So right there, I have to rely on something else to convey the hope and the peace that I have. and I have to trust the Holy Spirit that He does that. But I also try to write that into my music. And I try to put all that emotion, whether it's joy, peace, sorrow, anxiety, anything that I'm going through, I usually try to just jump behind the instrument and just play. So it's not just a gift that I've been given that I can give to other people, but it's also a gift to me at times too. And so I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah,
but
it does. It does. And my last question is, can you recall one of the most memorable experiences you've had playing that instrument, whether it was at a concert or at a friend's house? What is your most memorable experience? Or it can even be a testimonial from someone that just really brightened your day or motivated you to keep playing.
Well, you got me choked up just asking that question. So if I can, I'll share two stories. And one was really early on, and the one was right around the time of the viral video. The first memory that came to my mind is when I was just starting out trying to, start playing out with the instrument. This was probably around 2009 sometime. And one of my aunts that I'm really close to was dying of cancer, and she hadn't been to church or just been out in a long time. She was at home, and I just happened to be on my day job traveling, and I had a dulcimer with me in the car, and so I made a point of just stopping in to see her, and I got to play at her bedside, and that was sorry.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
That was just a really meaningful thing to do, to be able to bless her with some music that she wasn't able to hear and be part of for a long time. So the second story would be during the viral video. I had one gentleman over in Europe. He sent me just a message, and to break it down to a short thing, he basically said, I haven't been able to sleep. I've had insomnia for years because I can't stop the voices in my head. He said, he said, when I listen to your music, I can finally fall asleep and sleep for 8 hours. And so that just, that's a pretty big blessing for me to hear something like that, because it immediately made me think of King David and Saul, King Saul, and how David's music calmed the demons. And so if I ever wanted my music to do anything for somebody, it would be to introduce them to the Prince of Peace.
That's awesome. And I want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. I think you are a light to the world, and I appreciate you. I love your positive energy, not just you as a person, but just it's in your music. Who you are manifest through your music, and all I can feel is just love and acceptance and validation, and overall God's love through your music. And the amazing thing about it is that I feel like through your music, your music can actually touch people's lives right where they're at. And sometimes we'll never know. Just the couple stories you gave, I'm sure there are many more people out there, even myself, that has been blessed by your music. And that's why I reached out and said to myself, I said, I'm just gonna reach out. I'm gonna give it a try. I know you're a busy guy. I said, I'm just gonna give it a try and see if you'll come on for a few minutes. And I want to say thank you so much for your talent, and just keep up the good work. And And you have
Thank
a
you.
fan. You have a fan in me too.
Thank you.
For more information about Ted Yoder, you can visit www.tedyoder.com. We'll put that on the screen. tedyoder.com. You can go there. He has different resources and different things on there, events and all that. And also you'll learn a lot about him as well and why he does what he does. So thank you for watching. Asking everyone that if you enjoyed today's program, please share, like, comment, let us know who you are, where you're watching from, and I appreciate you, and I'll see you next week.
We hope you have enjoyed today's program. We want to connect with you. Visit us at facebook.com/The Brother Henry and You Show, or visit us on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Henry Harris 100. We're so grateful you tuned in today and hope you have a fantastic day.